In our last video tutorial, I looked at how to output bending moments, shear force, and area force diagram for our beam, column, and wall elements in our structural model in this project. In this tutorial video, I'm going to show you how to carry out beam reinforcement design with this software. So I am in the building analysis dialog box now. So what you do now, you click on beam reinforcement design. In the beam reinforcement design, you will see all the beams. You see all the beams in my structure listed in this table shown on my screen. As you can see, you will see X marks, under my design column. It means that all these beams in this table have not been designed. So to do this, we'll carry out beam design bash mode. But before you do this, you should always do the setting, provide setting and parameters for design and detailing of your beam. That should be the first step you should carry before you click on this beam design bash mode. You click on it, all the beam writing software will design all the beam listed in this table. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to click on setting and parameters. So when I click on it, this dialog setting and parameter dialog box appears. In this dialog box, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll start from the first tab. You should have I want my design share force to be taken from the face of the column. So I will have this check. If you want your design share force to be taken from the effective depth from the column face, you can check this option, but I'm going with the first option for design share force. The section effective depth calculation, I want the effective depth to be taken from the center of gravity of layers. If I have 2 layers of reinforcement at the bottom or top of my reinforcement, I want the effective depth to be taken from the center of the center of gravity of the two layers of reinforcement provided. If you have this effective design uses rectangular section. I want Orion to design the beam using rectangular and flange section. So I will leave this on check. So if you have this check on your system, make sure it's on check. I will leave this to check. This value is on your system, it will be 10 kilonewton meter. I want you to change the value to at least 50 kilonewton or 50 kilonewton meter. These variables here, they are ignorable forces. The reason why I'm increasing the value is because if I don't increase it and I run my bash design, my beam design bash mode, design all my beams, Orion will not design the beam where the area tension force exceed that 10 kilonewton. So because I want Orion 18 to design all my beam irrespective of the area force or bending moment or beam minor axis bending moment in my beam, I want the beam design. So I will increase this value so that Orion will design all my beam listed on the table. The concrete cover, I will use a 30 mm concrete cover at the bottom of my beam, 30 mm at the top of my beam, and 20 mm at the side of my beam. For parameter, minimum beam steel bars, I'll use 16 mm, maximum I'll use 25, my web steel diameter 16, my minimum angle bar diameter, I want it to be 16 mm. My minimum top steel spacing, change this to 40. Make sure this is 40 mm on your screen. Make sure your minimum bottom steel spacing is 40. 4 cm is enough spacing for the reinforcement for concrete to flow into the form. So I'm using my minimum, I'm setting it to 40 for the top and bottom steel spacing. So my link property, my minimum link size 12 mm, maximum 16 mm, the spacing minimum 100, maximum 300. Steel bar selection, I prefer the standard pattern number 3. We have 3 pattern number 18. I prefer the third pattern for detailing. Use at least 2 bars in second layer. If you are using 2 layers to design your beam at top or bottom, Orion should provide at least 2 layers at that region. Use same bar size in first and second layer, not compulsory. Use same number of bar in first and second layer, not compulsory. So I'll leave these 2 boxes unchecked. Clear the link. my ring type, it should be set to standard. So the close type is like this, the open type is like this. So set it to standard. Containment. Make sure your lap bar, your lapping for your bars is outside support. If you click lap bar inside support, you see the lapping will be inside the support of your beam. So I want the lapping to be outside. So I'll click lap bar outside support. I think that is all for here. Steel bar to make sure you don't use bottom support bar. No, okay, leave this checked. I don't think you need to mess with anything here. Bottom control, bob control, okay, bob control. If you have cantilever, if this is unchecked, the bottom reinforcement will not be angled. When the angling of bar, reinforcement bar in line 18 is called bob. So if I should check this, you see the reinforcement at the bottom will be angled. So if you don't want this angled, you can uncheck it. I want it angled. So I'll say drop bob for cantilever bars, cantilever bottom bars. I'll check it. I want my reinforcement to extend into the column. So I will click on this button here. Under the detailing, make sure that this is set to no grouping. It is very important. If it's set to group related objects, you won't be able to edit your drawing when you export it to AutoCAD. So make sure it is on no grouping so that you can easily edit your detailing drawing. I'll go to the beam tab. Make sure the print beam label below the detail is checked. Just make sure that these three boxes here are checked. So we have a beam label at the bottom of our beam. Like this means grid A 1 to 2, 250 wide by 500 deep beam. So this is how the label will look like if you have these three buttons checked. If you want this elevation label on your beam, you can check it. If you uncheck this box, it will disappear. So I'll check it. I have this beam beam elevation label on the screen now. So I'll go to section, no section. If I don't want section in my beam, I'll click on no section. If I want section on all beams, I'll check this. If you want your section to appear as support and span, you check this button here. However, I only want sectioning at the midspan of my beam. I don't want sectioning at support span at the true support of the beam and at span. If you set it like this, assuming you have 5 beam on a grid line, and that means you have 15 sections. Orion will draw 15 sections for you, and I don't want that. So I will check provide just span section only. My beam section label, I'll use numerical. I won't use alphabet, so you can see this. That's why this 1 1. We start section label in every axis. So for every axis of beam, let's say this is section 1, section 2. This is an axis of beam. For another beam detail, the sectioning will start again from 1 and 1, 2, 3, like that. If this button is checked. If you check this, add beam label to prefix to section label. So the beam label will be with the section with your section line. I don't want this, so I'll leave it unchecked. If you check this, add axis label as prefix to section label. And then the axis of this beam be part of your section line, section label. If you want it like this, you can leave this check. However, I don't want this, so I'll leave this unchecked. C bar link, C bars and link. Replot the bar below the beam. If I to check this, we have my reinforcement replotted below the beam again. I don't want this, so I'll leave this unchecked. Annotate steel bar in beam. If I uncheck, you see all my annotation for the steel bar has been removed. So I will check it because I want it. I want annotation for my steel bar, but I should check annotate bars in beam section. You can see my annotation for my bars in steel section has been removed when I uncheck this button here. But I want an annotation for my bars, so I'll leave it check. So this is the callouts for your longitudinal bar at section. But I want to use IS-T style annotation, so I'll check this button. So this AA means for the true longitudinal bar at the top, the AA denotes those two longitudinal bar. For the three longitudinal bar at the bottom, the BBB denotes the bar. This is the highest of this type annotation for reinforcement in section. Just make sure you have this setting on the screen on your laptop. So I'll go to the sidebar. I want all my sidebars. Sidebars are bars provided in deep beam to control torsion and also to prevent cracking. So if I check this, only one of the sidebar will be drawn. And I don't want that. I want all the bars to be drawn. So I will leave this unchecked. For dimensioning, I won't change anything here. So just make sure your setting is like this. So go to layer, I'll click save. I will update concrete cover to all beam, yes. So now I'll run beam. You click on the beam design bash mode to design all the beam on your list. So if I should click on it, I will select all bars and calculate. Orion will design all the beams on the table, on the table shown on the screen for us. So this will take about 20 to 30 seconds. So Orion is currently calculating our reinforcement that will be needed for each of the beam in our project. So Orion has designed most of the beam. You'll see that some of the beam they're still not designed. You can see the red X on the beams that have not been designed. Let's check what is happening to those beams. Why anything is not designed? So I should select that beam, click iterative design. So you see that actually in our setting, I think we have a minimum bar spacing for our top reinforcement. I think it's set to 40, and this value is below 40. So it is alerting us. So we can adjust our longitudinal reinforcement to improve the spacing here. So assuming the spacing is spacing for reinforcement at the top at this support. So let's say I increase the reinforcement to 25, I can reduce this to 20. I can reduce this reinforcement to 2 instead of 3. So you can see the spacing is better. It's greater than 40 and it's no more red in color. So I'll click OK. So you can do this to for all the beams that have not been designed yet. Click on this beam, click iterative design. The same problem. So you just need to increase this bar diameter here, reduce the number of bars here, and the spacing has been improved. So you can do this for all. Do this for all the remaining beams that have not been designed. Let me correct this. I'll do this for this. I double click on that beam and this opens. You can do it for this one. You can see here I have 4 C25. I don't want to provide 4 reinforcement in one layer. So what I'll do, I'll reduce this to 2 and I'll provide double layer of reinforcement at the top there. So I'm doing that now. And but I've not corrected my spacing problem here. So what I'll do here, I will increase the reinforcement at the bottom to 25 and remove this single reinforcement. I think if I should reduce this to 20, it will still be okay. The spacing 20 and okay, 25 will be okay. So at the top, okay, this is top problem. So I'll provide 25 here. See, now everything is okay. Click OK. You do this, you correct all the beams that have not been designed the way I'm doing it. Click iterative design. So you correct this. I'll click OK. Note if I click OK, Orion will check it. It will ignore the spacing warning. So make sure you make the correction for all the beams. I'm not making the correction. So all my beams have been designed. Now we have come to the end of this video tutorial session. In my next tutorial session, I will show you how I'll show you the output of Orion 18 beam detailing on AutoCAD. Thank you for watching the video.